Hello guys, and a long time no see, and welcome back to today's video. Today we're going to go do some in-season Premier League players, all for under £5 to put in your gallery. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and also a like on the video. Now let's get straight back into it. The first player we're going to get into, guys, is going to be Amadou Onana. That has just recently moved to obviously Aston Villa's start of this season. Currently only out due to lack of fitness, but has recently just played, I think, a little bit in the international for Belgium. In regards to price, he's £5.55, which is just a little bit over that £5 mark. But again, with a bit of negotiating, you should be able to get him for under that £5 in season as well. If we look at his scores here for Aston Villa so far, I think so far so good. In the about 12 games he has played so far. He has also obviously played for Aston Villa during the Champions League, but has also just had a sub appearance. Just was on the just on the bench, I should say, for Club Bruges there. But yeah, solid little play, it looks like so far. 13.3 worth of AA, and contributing with the 3 goals and 1 error leading to goal. Obviously not the best, but yeah, he looks like a solid player. He should be back in the next week or two, probably going to be back around sort of that Chelsea mark here. But he's got some decent games again with Brentford, Southampton, Forest coming up also will be a decent game, and Aston Villa overall are just a decent club. So I think this player, for just about that £5 mark, very solid indeed. And for a cheaper alternative, I've gone for Sam Morsy of Ipswich Town, currently sitting at just £1 for his in-season. Has a nice L5, 15 and L40. And that's due because obviously he did play Championship League, or the Championship last season with Ipswich, where he did really, really well in regards to scoring. Now, these are just the scores in regards to obviously what he's done so far in the Premier League. And I must say as well that he is, I believe he's actually top 5 or top 6 in the league in regards to midfielders for tackles and minutes played so far. So again, yeah, solid player, obviously looked upon by Ipswich fans and the Ipswich manager as well. And so far so good. I think his only scores have been when he's only chipped in with a decisive, so that is something to take in mind, being a CDM as well. But you just know when and where he does, he's not hitting just flat 60s, he's hitting in that 80 plus mark, which is very solid indeed. And even then, considering Ipswich concede a lot of goals, so for instance, if we were to look at this one here for the 4-1 loss against West Ham, in the defence, he got a -8 worth of AA. So hopefully if they shore up in some way and only just lose a game by a goal or two, that will be more than decent. And I think he can get himself some lovely scores there. But yeah, I don't think you can go too wrong for just a quid. Now I've got here Marino, the newly transferred player to Arsenal from Real Sociedad, of course. Came into the season injured. I believe he was injured in the warm-up and pre-season. So he hasn't had the full utility and the full amount of starts he's been looking for here at Arsenal. It does look like he plays for Spain as well, which is obviously also good in regards to utility. But I would say, actually, in regards to his, let's just look, just weirdly here, his sub appearances, which consists of 19, 45, 29 and 26 minutes, he's averaging about 14.3 worth of AA, which is very nice indeed. I'm actually only getting 5.8 as he starts, which is very weird. But they have been against decent teams: Liverpool at home, away to Newcastle and Inter Milan, and also Bournemouth, who are quite a decent little team at the moment, and can get a bit of a banana skin for the top teams in the league. So yeah, maybe not all the best excuses under the sun here for him, but he is someone I feel like you can hold on to for at least for the next few weeks. I believe he's going to get more and more game time as the season goes on, hopefully more consistent game time, and I believe that's what Mikel Arteta brought him in for initially anyways, maybe to take over Thomas Partey. But yeah, I think all in all, he's a very solid player. We've known this around the time at Real Sociedad here, again hitting 11.1 worth of AA, 6 goals and 2 assists. Obviously got that penalty kick, conceded a penalty, but 8 goal contributions in that sort of centre mid role. It's not too shabby around the time obviously for Real Sociedad. Now I believe he can do better with that when he does start to pick up some more game time for Arsenal. But for the time being, he does seem like he will get the appearance every now and again. He is touted apparently on Sorare data not to get the start at home to Nottingham this weekend. But all in all, you've got extra bits of utility potentially in the Champions League. obviously Premier League, and also when and where he does play for Spain as well. So again, for £3.40 for the in-season, again, I don't think that is too bad. Now, I think this guy is a solid player in real life. Obviously, he is currently, I believe he's actually on loan to from Brighton to Leicester. Let me know in the comments below if it isn't, but I believe that is the case. But in which case, he's only 19 as well. £4.72 for such a sort of product of the Premier League here. And yeah, I think because he's moved to Leicester, a lot of people presumed he wouldn't do too well there. Everyone knew he was sort of a solid player at Brighton, but just wasn't getting that needed game time at such a young age. But all in all, again, so far, so good, I would say. If we were to switch this, because obviously this is a combination of both Brighton and Leicester, and obviously also his times and stints, if he does get any with Argentina. But if we were to switch that just to Leicester, I mean, that's not bad at all, considering Leicester are basically a team who look like they're pretty much going down. Now, he only seems to be one of two or maybe three of Leicester's bright sparks within that team. And yeah, he's a very, very solid player, technically gifted, I believe, as well. And yeah, for £4.70 for a 19-year-old who, you know, even if this Leicester move doesn't work out, or if he did move to Leicester for whatever reason on the transfer, then I think he would do either really well in the Championship, or I believe he would get bought by, again, the Premier League club or someone in the top 5 leagues. But yeah, 3 goals, 2 assists, so 5 decisives in his 8 games, if we were to take that away. So it's 2 and 2 in regards to starts. But yeah, I think very, very solid contribution there for obviously a team that is struggling at the moment to get so any wins under the belt, beating Bournemouth and Leicester so far only this season. Yeah, obviously they're tipped obviously to go down as well, so who knows. But yeah, for 19 years old, they can't go really wrong for a player of this sort of caliber and in season. Next up, we have Mario Lemina, that of obviously the centre mid at Wolves, £2.36 for his in-season price. And again, I think puts up some decent scores, considering obviously the sort of team that he's in at the moment being Wolves, start of the season being here at Arsenal, it was a loss, draw, lost, draw, and only just recently won. In which case he got himself basically 68 there, which is quite nice indeed. Overall, I think he has some decent score. If we were to put this over the last 6 months, he is sitting at 13.8 worth of positive AA, with a goal and 2 decisives basically in 10-11 starts there, or 10 starts, 1 sub appearance. And yeah, look at this, 28 minutes off the bench against Crystal Palace, hitting himself 21.6 worth of AA, which is very solid, because a lot of players struggle to get that in 90 minutes. Let alone the 28 he got there. So, yeah, pretty much a starter throughout the season. As you can see, again, throughout his scores, 95 and 87 there as well, which are nice and high scores there. And obviously, like I said as well, with a 68 there against Southampton. So again, guys, short, sharp and sweet. But yeah, solid player for £2.30. Has a good run of games coming up. Hopefully, maybe Wolves do a bit better. I don't mind them as a club. I think they've got a couple of good players in there, but I just don't think the system is working for them. But yeah, for £2.36, again, not too bad. Now, one of my favourites on this list is going to have to be Morgan Gibbs-White of Nottingham Forest. £3.67 at the time recording for the in-season, which I think is just a bit too cheap. But yeah, as you can see here, he's only cheap because he's been in and out in regards to some, a couple of injuries, been out here due to a red card. So he hasn't had the best of starts. Got off at the first 3 games okay, with a goal there away to Southampton. But all in all, yeah, I think a very, very solid player indeed. If we were to maybe just bring this off and make sure there's just the sub appearance off, 8.3 worth of AA, is okay, as long as it's sort of accompanied with that decisive action, with the 5 goals, 8 assists in the 31 appearances that he has made for Nottingham so far. And yeah, I think very solid when he scores. He typically, there's a few 60s there, but he can get amongst the 80s there. Late 70s and again mid 80s there as well. So again, yeah, I think a very, very solid player for the price. Like I said, probably one of my favourites on the list. Another one of my favourites is going to be Eberici Eze of Crystal Palace, currently out injured and has been out injured for a little while now, apparently here with a hamstring injury, and seems to be back in a couple of weeks' time. So it might take a few weeks for him to get back into match fitness, so do take that with a pinch of salt there. £5.77, again, just maybe above that threshold of the £5 I'm trying to look for, but I had to sort of involve him for the price. Especially for, like I said, for in season as well. Very, very solid. Probably when he comes back, I would probably presume, if it's in a few weeks' time, probably around this sort of Brighton, maybe City mark, then in which case then he's got Arsenal, Bournemouth, Southampton, and who knows what's going to happen in regards to Leicester's management. Could be changed by that point, and again, could be getting himself a manager bounce. But if we look at the scores here and just bring it to Crystal Palace, because he's got a lot of DMPs for the England setup, which he does also, and I believe he'll get some future utility with the international team. But all in all, again, someone who's capable of 100, as we saw here near the back end of probably the last game of last season, hitting 2 goals, 1 assist, and 38 worth of AA at home to a very decent Villa side. But yeah, so far this season, in regards to decisive actions, I would probably say he's not doing all too good. Yeah, he said 9 appearances, 1 goal, and the 1 assist. But again, I don't think it's too bad considering the sort of place Crystal Palace are in at the moment. He is the talisman basically in there. He used to be obviously joined with Elise till he moved to obviously Bayern. But in which case now, I feel like once he comes back into play and fully fit, he is that sort of player to grab Palace by the scruff of the neck and hopefully push them up the table a few places than what they are currently. But again, yeah, I think £5.70 at the moment. Like I said, with a bit of wiggle room and negotiating skills, maybe even with a bot, you could obviously get that under £5 quite easily. And just a reminder, guys, if you did enjoy this video, make sure to hit that subscribe button and also hit that notification bell so you're notified every time I upload.